I was Martin Shkreli's prison pen pal. Wishing a pox on the Dorsey house, and with disdain and pity, wrote me from his Brooklyn jailhouse last fall while awaiting his sentencing hearings. He was convicted last August of defrauding investors in hedge funds he oversaw by misleading them about his track record, along with a fraud scheme related to Retrophin, a company he founded. Discussed his budding friendships with fellow inmates, boasted about his current research, and defended himself from the actions on which he was convicted and on which he was publicly reviled as a poster boy for pharmaceutical greed. "You disgust me," he wrote in an October letter addressed to Steve Dorsey, a jerk. Shkreli wrote in the letter, "When Trump speaks of draining the swamp that is the media government complex, he speaks of you, as do the American people. If you represent the Fourth Estate, it is a depleted and abandoned housing project on Manhattan's Lower East Side." I first reached out in September to Shkreli, who was ordered to the Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center shortly before I wrote him. He had just offered his online following $5,000 for a strand of Hillary Clinton's hair during her book tour, an act that resulted in the revocation of his bail for solicitation of assault. He defended himself, writing, "In my case, my defrauded investors made 3-5x their money and I made $24,000 for 3 years of work." Shkreli is expected to be sentenced Friday. He faces up to 20 years in prison. His arrogance could well cost him dearly, Columbia law professor John Coffey told CBS News. However, I don't think she, the judge, would ever consider a 20-year sentence to a first offender. The 34-year-old became infamous as the head of drugmaker Turing Pharmaceuticals. There, he increased the price of the lifesaving drug Daraprim by 5,000% to $750 per tablet. The drug is used to treat a parasitic infection, and to help people with compromised immune systems like those with AIDS, and cancer patients. But in one letter to me Shkreli wrote, which patients panicked at the price increase or were deprived of Daraprim. "There are 5 alternatives to Daraprim, you dummy." Still, Shkreli said he also thought carefully prior to increasing the price of Daraprim. Shkreli stopped responding to my letters that continued through December. His correspondence with the judge differs in tone, according to court filings. This isn't so surprising, given that Shkreli is asking the judge for leniency in his case. In a letter to the judge, he wrote, "I was wrong, I was a fool. I should have known better." He promised, "I will do my absolute best to use my skills and whatever talents I have been blessed with for the betterment of humanity." Shkreli got a head start on that promise while in prison, writing about his efforts to mentor fellow prison mates like Tyrone, Corey, Jason, Steve, Eric, and dozens of others, calling them smart, ambitious young men who have made awful mistakes and see in me, their first executive friend, a way out of drugs and crime. Wow.